Hello, welcome to 1111, which is a segment for my podcast where I talk about a topic for 11 minutes and 11 seconds. Today's topic is uh don't be scared. I like I've been having insane anxiety lately of just like everything and anything and like any possible outcome that can exist. Anything that like I'm an overthinker. Like I'm kind of happy, I at least I at least think and I overthink actually. So like, hey, at least I think. Like there's people who don't think. I think a lot. I think over it. I think I overthink. That's me. And so actually sometimes I don't think at all. And then until after I overthink it and I'm like, "Oh." Like in the moment I don't overthink. It's always like after that I start overthinking. And like overthinking is like, oh my god, like girl, stop thinking. And it's like I can't stop thinking. Like I'm overthinking. But I'm like so over thinking. I'm like so over the whole aspect of thinking that I'm just like, girl, stop overthinking. And so overthinking creates insane anxiety for me, and I just always fear like every single action that I'm doing now. And it's like, girl, let's take a breather. Like, life's okay. Life is beautiful. And I've just been thinking about like stuff that shouldn't even like there's possibly no like reality in, and like I'm just like feeding that, and I'm just like, girl, like stop. So one of those has been like fear, and like it's actually something that like I'm working on, but like not being scared of like people or like places or like situations or like just life, like not being scared of like we can start with like people. I feel like not being scared of people. So I have had to build my communication skills from like 0 2 years ago because I was homeschooled, and then I had to like reintroduce myself to like society because I was kind of like kept in a very small bubble. So I used to be scared of like people my age, and like I always felt like they had this like insane social advantage that I didn't have. Some did, some didn't. So I realized that like everyone is different, and there's like people for everybody. There's like, I learned that I'm an extrovert. I used to think I was an introvert. I'm actually an extrovert. I actually can like walk into a room and just be like, "Hey, girl, like, what's up? Like, how have you been? Like, tell me." Like, I think I've like, I've possessed this new aspect in the way that I talk to people, and the way that I'm like trying to be a little bit like smiley and like a little a little charm. Um, I feel like that's actually like helped with just being in a room with people that you don't know. And so I didn't stop, but like I'm like learning how to not feel so intimidated by going to different places and going to new places. For example, like San Francisco, it's like a whole different world. It's a whole different like I don't have any family there, and so I obviously had my friends, but it was still mostly like on me. Like it was still mostly on like how am I go because the way that you act and the way that you think throughout the trip is kind of like how it goes for you. Like if you're having fun, it's going to be fun. If you're like not expecting a lot of things, everything is going to be beautiful. I feel like I didn't know what I was expecting. I did not like all I knew was I'm going to have fun and I'm going to be nice and I'm going to like, just kick it with the homies. Like I'm just gonna kick it with the homies, in SF. And so I like went with that attitude, and it was a very 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 fun time. But I feel like I genuinely feel like everything is like mental, and so fear is just in your head. It's just in your head. Like there's no actual like object that is fear. So if you're able to, unless you know a clown is fear. I feel like a clown, what else is scary? I don't know. Like I'm low key like scared now of like okay, so there was this movie I watched with JoJo. It was called I don't know what it was I don't know what it was called, but it was shot during quarantine, and when it was like a POV movie. And so this movie was about this girl who was like a Trump supporter, and so she went to a whole different like country, and like she went with her friend, and like it was just like the end of the world almost, and like everyone was like possessed, and it was very scary. It was crazy, and it was like a POV filmed, so like it's kind of like uh as Hell as Below or Hell as Below. Awful movie. I do not like that movie. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I feel like I'm just in the middle of this random like movie, and why are they going through multiple hells? Like I feel like if I had an explanation as to what was going on, I would have loved it. Which is why I'm not gonna watch Dune 2. Like, have you seen Dune 2? Like, I obviously want to see it because I want to see it, but like I'm not going to understand what's going on. So it's like I either have to read the books or like get educated, like watch a YouTube video, you know? So, anyways, as I was saying, don't be scared of people. Like, don't. Everything is in like how your head is, right? Like, everything is what you tell your mind is. So be like, they like me. Because my fear is like rejection. I have a big fear of rejection just because, you know, I don't, I'm not very accepted. Fear of rejection. And so my fear is just girl, like we really have to like work on that, because I cannot going around, you know, in my life having this fear of like talking to people because they're not going to talk to me back or whatever. Most of the time, if you have that like connection, like just trust your intuition, like just trust what you're feeling, and like it'll go great, you know? I don't know. That's just the way that I've kind of seen it. Like just talk to people, and if you click, you click, and if you don't, just walk away. And like if it's like a little like, oh, they don't really talk to me or whatever, there's going to be someone that like wants to talk to you. I promise you. Like there's absolutely no way that you can't have anyone else that's like that has the same like taste as you. You guys like some form of like TV show or like book or like artist or whatever. Like you have to go to like places like concerts. I feel like would be very good to like test your communication skills and like how good you are at like making friends, or like how good you are at like talking to people, because like you have that one shared interest. Like for example, I've been going to this gay bar. No, it's like a club. Yeah, I've been going to this gay club with my friend Jakey. Hi Jakey. To watch Drag Race, and like it's kind of like silly, and it's kind of very unserious, because like we are literally watching TV. There's a projector in the middle of just this gay club, and it's very like, okay, like that's kind of like, okay, like that's very like, it's so unserious. And so I obviously like everyone around you, they're there because they like the same thing that you do. So like any person that you kind of like turn around to, it's like, oh, like, hey, like what queen are you rooting for? Which, by the way, I really want Nymphia to win. Honestly, I want Morphine to win, Nymphia to win, Plain Jane to win, Dawn to win, Saphira to win. I don't want Q to win. Nor, I feel like Maya and Q are next to go. Like, they can, like, I don't know. I just feel like they're next to go. I don't like Q, and I really, like, I do, but, like, I don't want them to win. Like, I feel like there's so much more of, like, another queen, you know? Anyways. Back to this. Had a lot to say about me the other day in the press. Miley, what's good? Listen. We're all in this industry. We all get asked these questions. I still have dreams about the Nicki Minaj tour. Like, you have to go. Like, it's like the best concert in the world. Anyways, so life. Don't be scared of life. I cried today because I like was in the park. I was like, oh, it's a beautiful day. Like the sun's out. And so I sat on grass and like I just journaled, and then I started crying because, sorry, that's my bedtime timer. I started crying because I was like, oh my God, like, like what the hell? Like life is really just like, you know, like when you have those like out of body experiences where you're like, wait, it's getting real. That was me, and I was just like, oh. So I just like started crying, and then I went in my car, and then I started screaming because life is a little bit like, oh God, like, I'm alive. Like everything is like young 20s is not a joke. Like, I just want to skip to like 35. That's the only thing that like has brought me like some form of like tranquility, is that I know that I'm one day going to be 35 and I'm going to be in like a much better like mental state than I am right now. And like obviously I'm gonna like complete all of my life goals and stuff, because like I am like, this is just like the route to complete those things, you know. So like there's absolutely no doubt in my head that I will not, but I just wish I can jump ahead to like when I already have received all of that and like completed all of those goals, you know. And so I know like this is where like you kind of like separate from the fear to like actual confidence, and like actually like, you know what, no, like I am going to do this because I said I'm going to do this. I don't know, it's probably the Aquarius double Scorpio in me, but like when I say I'm going to do something, I'm more than likely going to do it, because I know that I'm gonna like always pull through. But anyways, that's today's episode. I love you so much. Please be safe. Mwah.